Good day, my name is Kitty, and I am a villain life coach. If you don't know me, I am kind of known for traumatizing the men who bother me. I just got back from a convention, which is what this question is posted from. And so in that video, I discuss how typically, because I am so abrasively dismissive, I have never had issues with conventions necessarily. But in case that you run into somebody who's not getting the hint or borderline getting even creepier, here are some other tips and tricks. Ideally, of course, try to get con staff involved as soon as possible. You can go and make sure you identify early, like the information desks, where the safety officers are running about, and make sure that you report this even later if they are not able to immediately assist, like they're not like readily available right there, then later, because think of it this way. You'll ruin his day. And that's great. Also, you know, you get the bonus of knowing that you're kind of helping avoid other people from having run-ins with this person as well. So, you know, bonus. But I like to think of it just from the day ruining point of view. But if con safety or con officers are not readily available, here are some other things that you can say, and then I'll get into cosplayers I would initially look to for any form of assistance. Oh, is anybody cosplaying as Chris Hansen by chance? Do we have a Chris Hansen available? Because we sure as hell have a predator here. I'm sure he'd like to catch him. Anyone want to catch a predator? Because we found one. You can also begin parroting back his very stupid, invasive, or otherwise inappropriate question at the top of your lungs over and over and over again. Can you check my gender? Can you check my gender? Are you asking if you can check a minor's gender? Also, never underestimate the power of a very loud screech. One, it's not necessarily uncommon at conventions, and it will absolutely start turning heads. Now, how do you screech? Volume warning. You just find it right there in the center of your throat. Like, just go for it, man. One, it feels great, and two, it will absolutely spook the shit out of him. When it comes to cosplayers or otherwise people that are the give me a reason type that I've talked about on this page before, there are some general rules of thumb at conventions of like patterns I've noticed, mostly by how extroverted some of these people tend to be, at least in my experience. And the more extroverted, the more likely they are to get involved. And then we can start getting into the subcategories of the ones that are going to absolutely go ballistic if given the chance on some kind of creep. First and foremost, the least likely to make a scene. I'm certain that all of these people would be willing to help, but it's just a matter of like which ones would really be involved, really make a scene proper. The ones that are least likely to do that would actually be the very intricately detailed cosplayers, like the ones with a big prop or lots going on. And the reason is that they got a lot going on. And while they are perfectly apt to be the center of attention, I mean, look at their cosplay, they're not going to necessarily have, one, the energy, or two, the literal wherewithal to get super involved. I mean, I am certain that there is a Sailor Moon who will disengage those wings super fast to be a problem, but it's just a likelihood thing. Speaking of Sailor Scouts, I'd say that your Sailor Uranus, Neptune, and Jupiter, and then any derivative of a Sailor Moon, are going to be very hot to trot to be part of a problem for this guy who's creeping you out. Your other Sailor Scouts, Venus, Mars, Mercury, etc., Saturns and Plutos, as rare as those two are, they would be happy to probably be like escorts or otherwise help you, but I have found that Sailor Scouts are genuinely kind of like shyer cosplayers. They don't talk to me much, at least. And that's coming from someone who does actively cosplay Sailor Saturn and would absolutely be every derivative of a problem. So, like, I am of myself an exception to this rule. But just from my perspective, Sailor Scouts have been historically very shyer or seemingly more introverted. They don't talk to me. Maybe it's just me. And the big ol' asterisk, though, if that Sailor Scout is doing, like, a parody Sailor Scout thing, like they are being, like, you know, Sailor Starbucks or something, that's different. That's entirely different. And before we get into it even further, let's talk about the general, like, seemingly male-presenting people who I would say are also kind of green flags to ask for assistance. Anyone wearing a skirt or wearing a midriff top. Gerudo links. It don't matter what gender you are assuming they are, a Gerudo link is gonna be helpful. Any Zelda. And in that exact same breath, any of the people cosplaying the Naruto women. So Sakura's, Tsunade's, Tenzinos, Tamaris, and yes, some Hinatas, although they can be a little shyer, but still willing to be a problem. I mean, all of those women have to fight for their damn lives for their place in the Naruto-verse to be considered valid, so yeah. Full Metal Alchemist. Full Metal Alchemist. Any My Hero Academia character. Anyone. Every single one. Although I think there's a special kind of energy, and I've mentioned before, with the Bakugo ones. Just because, like, Bakugo turns into a Baku bitch when there's a problem. So, we love to see it. That's exactly the energy you need with these creeps. Any of the cosplayers who are doing kind of like a sexier cosplay, they have a unique kind of perspective of they are typically dealing with a lot of sexualization and creeps themselves throughout a convention, so they're very used to dealing with it from their perspective. But there is this kind of a unique thing I've talked about, how a lot of people will be like a little shyer or nervous handling creeps that are coming onto them, but the minute it is somebody who is not them, their entire demeanor will change and they will be an absolute menace to the person being a creep. Those who are dressed up in Lolita garb are usually a pretty decent option as well, although they can be a complete coin flip on if they are more buddy system. They're very sweet. Oh, of course, like, let me make sure, like, let's find con staff, like, I'll stay with you. Or, where is he? I'd say that the ones who are wearing, like, the twin drills, like the two pigtails, they're the ones who are more of that snorted pixie sticks, let me at him kind of vibes. But again, it's very subjective. Ones that I have been known to keep an eye on would be anyone who seems like, again, male presenting, who's dressed as anybody from One Piece, Bleach, or if they are just straight up wearing an Akatsuki cloak and they're not like going for a specific character, they have nothing else other than like the Akatsuki cloak and maybe that crossed out headband. I'm watching you. Also, I keep a real close eye on the Spider-Men. They are either, like, A-okay and just really excited, or pains in the ass. No in between. Although I did give a Spider-Man a tooth after he asked me to step on him. I did step on him, too. I mean, I'm not going to pass up that opportunity. Again, not a comprehensive list. I am limited to, like, shows and etc. that I know enough of that I can see, like, okay, these particular cosplayers that I always see acting this kind of way, no matter who they are who's cosplaying, it's always people who are dressed as this character. That character is from this show. Oh, okay. And then that other character that is from that show, I see them acting this way all the time. Okay, yeah, all right. I'm starting to see the correlations and causations. So I'm limited. You know, if I don't know Genshin, so I wouldn't be able to tell you anything about Genshin other than it looks a lot like Toho. And I can always tell what's from Genshin, I just have no idea who those characters are. And always they seem really young. So, you know, like anybody cosplaying South Park right now, I am just going to assume is underage. These are the things. Do a part 2 as well. I am limited to my time frame on this hell side of an app. So yeah, okay, thanks, bye.